Okay, if everybody is ready, I'm just going to work around my screen in a clockwise order, if that's okay. So that brings me to our students in India, in Hebel, first of all. Would one of you care to share with us your top tip, your best piece of advice for a good dialogue? Thank you.
One of the things I have learned from Essentials of Dialogue and also from my previous VC is that there is no winner in a dialogue. We need to tolerate and respect others' opinions and beliefs and also not try to argue. Thank you.
Thanks very much for that. I think that's an excellent point. I often say in a dialogue, we are not here to win an argument. We are not here to impose our views on anybody else. First and foremost, we are here to seek to understand different perspectives, not to judge them. So thank you. That's, I think, an excellent piece of advice. Can I cross over now to students in Malang in Indonesia, please, to share your one piece of advice for today's VC? Thank you.
Hi, so first of all, I would like to thank all the brave people that is here today. For me, a good dialogue starts from not only the bravery of us trying to tell what's happening around us, but also the interaction between us and the people that is here today. So the dialogue is a good interaction between us and maybe giving some positive feedbacks and also understanding and appreciating opinion in general. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. And yes, of course, to share, to participate in such a video conference, I think can be a brave act, especially for many of you speaking in a second language today. It's very easy for me speaking my first language, but I know many of you are speaking a second language today. And of course, brave to share your views, to be able to be willing to share your thoughts and your beliefs with others. And the more you're confident to share your thoughts, the better the video conference will be. Thank you. Just working around my screen. Can I cross over to Sharjah then, please, to our Boys Own High School, and ask for your piece of advice? Thank you.
So, first of all, good morning to you, President. From my past 2 years of experience in video conferences and dialogue, personal experience, and in my opinion, I feel when we are presenting a dialogue, our stand in the dialogue must be very clear. We must always view with utter confidence, and we must not be ambiguous, we must not be vague, and what we are trying to convey through our dialogue must reach the audience very clearly. Most of all, and I can't stress this enough, that we must be a good listener. When a dialogue takes place, first we have to listen and try to understand what the person has to convey. That's, in my opinion, is one of the special things when it comes to dialogue. I am Varun Manoj Rawat from our own Sharjah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I think those two pieces of advice go together there. Yes, we have to try to be clear when we express ourselves, but then the listener has a role in that also, because if we are not clear, if the message has not been understood, then the listener needs to ask for clarification. Can you say more? Could you give me an example of that so that I can understand you better? It's a two-way process, isn't it? So if something is not clear, it's your job to seek to understand by asking for clarification. Thank you very much, Sharjah. And finally, can I cross over to Indonesia again and to Prabalan and ask for your piece of advice? Thank you.
My name is Adin. I'm from Jakarta. My name is Adin from Jakarta. In my last, from my last experience, following this event conference, I think we must respect other people when we're talking about conference or another thing maybe, and especially we must respect the other people when we're talking about conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just to let you know, there was quite a lot of background noise on the microphone there. I don't know whether it might be better to hold the headset in front of you, just so you're aware that we might need to think about that as we go on. You said that to respect each other's ideas, and again, that's so important. That's the heart of dialogue for me. When you hear a different point of view, maybe a point of view that disagrees with your own, how do you respond? Do you feel angry? Do you try to attack the other point of view? Do you defend? Do you withdraw? Do you turn away from the other point of view? Or do you say, hey, that's interesting. You see this in a different way to the way in which I see it. Let me try to understand that different point of view. And I think that's the heart of perhaps of a good dialogue, respect for other points of view and seeking to understand them. Well, thank you all. They were great pieces of advice. And as I say, for me, this program is very much about learning together to get better at dialogue. So that's a great start. Thank you. Okay, the art of expression. So I think the way I might start this VC is to ask perhaps 3 students from each school to respond to an opening question. I may try, because we have 4 schools today, if we go more than 3 students per school, this opening round may take too long. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to restrict you to 3 students per school for this first round, if that's okay, so that then we can open up the conference to a dialogue. After the first round of thoughts, I will pause the VC for a minute or 2 to give you time to think about what you have heard and to think about what questions you have in response to what has been said. So I'd like you to almost, for the moment, let go of any questions you had prepared in advance of the VC and listen to what is said in the first round and then try to respond, to be interested in what others have said. Okay, so the opening question, as I hope you may have seen from the agenda, is, can you give examples of the arts being used by people to express themselves in a personal, a spiritual, or a religious way? Can you give examples of the arts being used by people to express themselves in a personal, spiritual, or religious way? And if you can, try to choose examples that are meaningful to you personally, either art forms that you practice yourself or art forms that you have a particular interest in, so that we can all respond to you and try to understand your interest a little bit more. Well, I hope that's understood. So again, let me keep to the same order, and I will cross then to India and to our school in Hebel. Would 3 of you like to share your responses to that opening question? Thank you.
So I'm Yamun from India, and the art form I have been most interested in is the Indian literature. That's the ancient Indian literature. So the most impressive thing about the Indian literature is that the characters written in the Indian literatures, for example, the legend of Ramayana and the Mahabharata, have been drawn from different sections and components of the society, which actually enrich your understanding of different views and perspectives. And that is what I literally feel is has enriched my understanding of different beliefs and opinions of the people. So, for instance, in Indian literature, we have got two very famous legends. One is of the Ramayana, another one being the Mahabharata. So the protagonists in both of these literatures are quite controversial to each other. For example, in Ramayana, the protagonist is Ram, who is a structure follower and law obeyer person, and he is a defender of the law. Whereas in the Mahabharata, the protagonist is Krishna, who's a very cunning and calculative person. So they both are controversial to each other, but the most impressive thing about them is that actually they both are considered to be the reincarnation of the same person, because we Indians believe in reincarnation. So that's what it is all about. They both are controversial characters, but yet considered to be the reincarnation of the same person. And the other thing about the Indian literature that is the depiction of antagonists. In the Indian literature, as I have felt personally, no antagonist or no villain is considered pure evil. They have also depicted their good qualities, and they have, for example, Ravan in the literature of Ramayana, the main antagonist. He has been depicted as a man of a genius, a quite knowledgeable person, and also a great devotee of gods. So he's but still he's the antagonist. So what actually I feel personally is that here in the Indian literature, we the authors, the ancient authors like Ved Vyas, he has been the author of both these legends, Ramayana and Mahabharata. The authors actually encourage us to think beyond the box. They actually encourage us to, to respect everyone, every component of the society. Even the antagonist, you might feel that he's the villain in your life, but actually, for him, he's the hero. So that's what the basic concept I have personally analyzed is. And so personally, I have felt that it has impacted my life in a way that, I'm a polytheistic person. So I believe in many gods and goddesses. So that actually gives me space to respect even other people's religions and other people's opinions. And the main source for this understanding that I have got for other religions, for me, it has been the Indian literature, the ancient Indian literature. Thank you.
Thank you, Yamun. What an impressive class, really interesting. And I already am thinking of questions I would like to ask Yamun to understand more about his love of literature. Thank you so much. And do please continue. Our second speaker in India. Over to you. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I'm Adraja Singh. I feel the art form of Bharatanatyam is mostly used to express spiritual, religious and personal beliefs. Bharatanatyam is one of the 7 major classical dances in India, and many dance items in Bharatanatyam are based upon gods and goddesses in Hindu mythology. For example, Devarnama, Shabdam, Varna, Javali and Pada are examples of Bharatanatyam dance items that are based on Hindu gods and goddesses. I have been personally influenced by, I've also got to know about many stories when I have been performing Bharatanatyam. I have personally influenced by, I have been practicing Bharatanatyam since past 10 years, and I'm influenced by the rich history that is associated with the dance of Bharatanatyam. Bharatanatyam derives many of its elements from the ancient Indian scriptures like the Natya Shastra, which was written by sage Bharata Muni, and the Natya Veda, which was written by Lord Brahma. Not only this, Bharatanatyam also derives many of its elements from the ancient Vedas in India, like it derives pada or words from the Rig Veda, music or gana from the Sam Veda, abhinaya or expressions from the Yajur Veda, and rasas from the Atharva Veda. The nritya items are used to express which involve abhinaya or facial expressions, along with nritta or intricate movements are used to express devotion towards God, personal or religious and spiritual beliefs of a community. When a Bharatanatyam dancer gets involved in doing Bharatanatyam, he or she is indirectly expressing his or her personal belief or devotion towards God in general. I have also learned many stories when I have been performing Bharatanatyam related to Hindu gods and goddesses. I feel involved while doing this dance of Bharatanatyam, and it gives me a lot of happiness and pleasure. I have also come to know about many good moral and cultural values that are portrayed through the dance of Bharatanatyam, and due to these reasons, I personally love, respect and perform this form of art. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. And over to our final speaker in India. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Dipali, and I would like
waving rather than please stop. I was saying hello. Please do continue.
I would like to express my views on the art of Worli art. It is a form of painting that is seen in India. The painting is basically a depiction of the happy moments of the community, like the birth of a child, like the wedding bells or something. Behind me, you can see a painting. So this describes it depicts the happiness of the people and the dance, the singing that they do when at any happy moment. You can also see that the drawing is depicted only with the geometrical shapes like triangles and circles. The significance is that they are very basic in nature, and also it does not express the expressions of the person involved or the character involved, and there's a lot of expressions. It's a colorful pictures as well. Another thing that I like about this is the way it is being done. It is done in India. That is, the colors that are used are naturally extracted from plants and limestone. The white colors are used. The colors are naturally derived, and there's no pollution to earth. So, in my opinion, this form of art is an expression of the people and the spiritual belief that they believe. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that, bringing along that example of the art form. 3 fantastic contributions there from our students in India. Thank you so much. Can I then cross over to Malang in Indonesia and invite 3 of you to share your opening responses to our question. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Laras and I'm from Mandua Kota Malang. So hearing from the first speaker from student in India, I'd like to share a story about the art of expressions that I personally have. So we kind of have like shared similar experience. So I grew up in a like Hindu environment, which is in Bali, and like 3/4 of my life has been spent with Hindus people. And yeah, I've been really well known with stories like Ramayana and also Mahabharata a lot. And yeah, I'm also a fan of Arjuna. And and I want to share like a different kind of art of expressions from those literature or those stories of Ramayana and Mahabharata. In Bali, it is famous and well known for its sculptures. So I've seen a lot, and also like sometimes made little sculptures of like gods and goddesses of Hindus. And also in Bali, like we used to have like ceremonial nights called a day before Nyepi, and we used to like it is some kind of carnival, and we call it Ogoh-Ogoh Arakan. And in there, people made like sculptures to represent like monsters in Hindus' belief in Bali. It is being like it is like the sculptures and its monsters are getting like being walked around the town, and people in Bali believe that its monsters will lock all of the